has been said, my name is Reverend Dereca Blackmon, and I am the senior minister here at the East Bay Church of Religious Science. I use she and they gender pronouns, and I always like to let you know what my gender pronouns are because you can't tell what they are by looking at me. This is an especially amazing day for me. I am so grateful to see you here. I'm so grateful to be here. I like to start with gratitude and really just, today my talk is called I Am Because We Are, in celebration of Interdependence Day. And I gotta start with gratitude. Because whenever you see someone standing at a podium, there are so many people who are involved with getting them there. There are so many people who are involved with getting the podium there, the microphone there, the music there, the audio visual there. They seated you when you came in. They're praying in the back. They're the board that raises the money. They're the person in the parking lot. They're the volunteers in the youth and family ministry. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. And I couldn't hardly name them all, but I have to say I'm grateful. I'm so grateful. And but I want to start my talk today by letting you know that we are gathered here today for a funeral. I know you thought you came just for a celebration, but I got to start with hosting a funeral. And I'm not talking about the old church homegoing where we're going to celebrate somebody going home. I'm not talking about the second line dancing in the street. I'm talking about a death of a thing whose time has passed. Because while the world is out here waving their flags and celebrating Independence Day, I want to talk about the death of war. Because Independence Day is a celebration of the victory of war. It's the idea that we had an enemy that was so evil and so oppressive, and we had to overthrow, and we had to fight and struggle and war, and this is what we're going to celebrate. That we defeated someone. That we conquered some tyranny, some oppressors, some evil. But see, Reverend E says the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So if we're setting up today as a celebration of war, well, then we're just not talking about the U.S. and England. Then we're going to be talking about war any place we perceive that there is an enemy. Some of us got some perceptions about some enemies. We're going to talk about that today. We cannot be fooled into thinking that we've got to engage in this game, in this conversation, in this thinking, in this idea. See, war is a game with no winners. It's really like a game of tag with two people. You're evil, okay, now you're evil. Okay, you're it, now I'm it. Because if you pay attention to the history of war in this world, everybody has a turn being the bad guy. Right? It's the Russians, it's the Arabs, it's the Asians, it's the who is it now? Are we back around to the Russians again? We made it in a whole circle. See, and it's easy as long as I'm talking about history for us to be anti-war, right? But I'm not talking about history, I'm talking about us and the way that we think about each other. I'm talking about the people that you turn on your television. See, today I'd like to call this the 4th of July. Because we've got a habit now of turning on our television and identifying the enemy. But the enemy is us. The enemy is the way our mind works in black and white thinking to polarize everything and to say, you are against me, therefore I must fight. You have the power to oppose me, therefore I'm going to switch roles. Instead of you oppressing me, I'm going to oppress you. Because that's the result of war. No, war never results in true freedom. Freedom is something someone cannot give you. Freedom is something that you know you are. Freedom is something that you know you have. Freedom is something that no one can take away from you. Freedom is a state of mind. And every freedom that has ever happened has come from someone having that state of mind and then moving in action on that thing. I'm not saying that we should just tolerate oppression and just let it go and say, oh, okay, we'll pray until it passes. I'm saying you pray so you figure out what your position is, what is yours to do. Reverend E said, when the back cracks, know your position. What is yours to do? Is it yours to lobby, to protest, to advocate, or is it yours to go teach the children? Is it yours to donate money, or is it yours to go to the Red Cross and help? Whatever you do to help, you do it from a mindset that says you and I are one. Now see, we talk about oneness in this church, but if I'm talking about the enemy in your house, the enemy in your family, if I was talking about the enemy in your job, your enemy at church, we was talking about that, it might be a different thing. Dr. King did a sermon he called The Birth of a New Nation. And it was on the celebration of the independence of Ghana when Kwame Nkrumah became elected. And when they were celebrating that occasion, he lifted up something that I thought was so important. He said the goal of this independence is not to defeat or humiliate, but is to come through conflict together. See, if we're going to set a tone here from the very beginning, East Bay, I'm going to tell you we're going to have some conflict. They say pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. We're going to have some conflict, but it's the way we approach the conflict. It's the way we approach each other when there is a conflict. It's the recognition that if you and I are one, then we're coming to agreement. And the way that we're going to do that is in principle. See, there's a principle of oneness, and it operates on a practice of forgiveness. I'm going to say that again. There's a principle of oneness, but it operates on the practice of forgiveness. So if you have someone that you're feeling like you're at odds with, it's time to do the practice of forgiveness. Oh, y'all wanted me to say something that was easy. Y'all wanted me to start out light, ease you into it, just have a party and some snacks. That's not who you chose. That's not who you chose. That's not who you picked. You could have had easy. But that's not who you chose. Ernest Holmes said, just because, you know, we got to make sure. Ernest Holmes said, and I love this, liberty is not license. Liberty is not license. What did he mean? If we are just free, you know, we love to say we free, it's open at the top. We act like religious science means we could do whatever we want, and we be looking for where Ernest Holmes said that. That's not what he said. He said liberty is not license. If we are free to do that which is destructive, we will ultimately destroy ourselves. And if we do that, if we do that thing that is destructive, we would deny and defame the nature of divinity itself. What does it look like to deny and defame God? See, in religious science, we like to talk about it's all good, and it is. But that doesn't mean we get to do whatever we want whenever we want it, because we also talk about it's done to you as you believe. So if you believe that's your enemy and they trying to hurt you, well, and so it is. If you believe you got to fight to be free, well, then and so it is. Because none, Bob Marley said, can free us but our mind. Right, so we got to get to the point where we believe that all the change that we want to see starts within us. That's what we take. Change your thinking, change your life. I'm going to say if we change our collective thinking, which Holmes calls the race consciousness, we change the world. I mean, that's what we keep talking about here, right? A point of transformation for the entire planet. Yes. Let's start with East Bay. Yeah. Let's start with Oakland. Y'all know I've been living in the Virgin Islands. It's been so lovely. I was going to bring y'all pictures, but they said I need to quit showing off. So let me just say, it was beautiful. But I sat there with my beautiful view, and God and I watched the sunrise. Almost every day I like to go sit in the dark. Because Isaiah 48:19 said, God said, behold a new thing. Yes. Behold a new thing. And so it's amazing to watch God make a new day every day. And if I show you pictures, maybe I'll come and show y'all another week. Every day the sky is different. Every single day. Some days it's purple, some days it's orange, some days it's cloudy, some days it's bright. Every day is different. What a miracle. And so I'm going to say, East Bay, that we got something good going on here, and it's time to behold a new thing. What if we flip this day on its head, and instead of talking about a celebration of war, instead of talking about an Independence Day, what if we start talking about an Interdependence Day? What if we had the idea that your freedom is tied up with my freedom, and that none of us are free until all of us are free? Now y'all gonna clap until I say I mean the person you don't like is free. The person you can't forgive is free. The person that did that to you dirty, what if they're free? Because they say resentment is like drinking poison and waiting for somebody else to die. They say you can have unforgiveness in your heart, but you got to keep that person in jail, and guess what that makes you? A prison guard. That's not a job I want. So I'm going to have to let you go from the prison of my mind so that I can be free. That's interdependence. I want to be free from putting you in prison because it's not working for me. I used to have that saying a long time ago, say it to my face. Let me just tell you now, don't. I want us to have something that I'm calling Freedom Summer. Y'all go back to the 60s. The Freedom Summer was when the folks, primarily in the North, and let's be clear, primarily the white folks, said, I see something I cannot accept. I see injustice happening, and I'm not just going to look and say, oh, that's too bad. I'm not just going to look and say, let me send some money to help those people. I'm not just going to look and make a donation. I'm not going to look and just come on Sunday and cut. Oh, I mean, I'm talking about Freedom Summer way. I'm going to get involved. I'm going to put my comfort on the line. I'm going to risk something because that's how deeply I believe in freedom. What I'm saying is what you do to the least of these in Mississippi, you do to me. What if we said that about our young people? What if we said that about the folks who are out here living on the street? What if we said that about people who need our mental health services? What if we said that about the hungry? What if we said what you do in these systems to the least of these, you do to me? That's a Freedom Summer. That's what I'm laying out here for you if you're picking it up. You understand? We're going to have the whole summer, every single week, we're going to talk about how to get free ourselves, how to get free from our ideas of lack and limitation, from our dis-ease, from our poverty consciousness, whatever that is. This is a time to behold a new thing. Yes. To take up a new idea, to take up your own bed and walk and know that whatever happens in here for us, for East Bay, happens outside these doors. Because we are citizens of this community and of this world. And our consciousness, whenever, wherever you're watching this. Yes. Because there's people watching this in all kinds of communities. I know because they've been hitting me up like, girl, I'll be watching you today. I'm so excited, so flattered. And you can share this with someone else. A new idea. Moving away from independence to looking at interdependence. And so I'm just going to tell you, we can't rest on our laurels, East Bay. We can't just say, ooh, I love my church. You should. This is an amazing community. But we who believe in freedom, we cannot rest. We cannot. I know some of us is tired. Y'all been telling me, girl, I've been working so hard at East Bay, all these transitions and all that. I'm kind of tired. Reverend E ain't tired. We've been trying to get her to retire, and she said, oh, no, I'm not tired. And if she's not tired, ain't nobody tired. I ain't trying to hear it. She's not tired. She's not tired. I was here the day Reverend Deborah called her out. She was sitting right here, and Reverend Deborah was preaching, and she said, Reverend E, you done good. You ran a good race, and now you get to sit down. And I'm going to tell you what, I was sitting right behind Reverend E. And if Reverend Deborah, I felt like she had reached out and called my name. And that's when I came back to East Bay. I had been gone. And she said, Reverend E deserved to sit down. And you know, everything in me said, she right. But Reverend E don't want to sit down. Because she's answering the call, like those 1,000 people who went down for Freedom Summer, like me sitting in the Virgin Islands going, God will just not leave me alone. Georgia is praying somewhere, like, girl, you better get on back here. I was getting text messages every time I preach. Ooh, I'm so excited you're coming back. Then you send me that, Brenda. I so want you to be the minister. Every time I preached. And I was telling Arlene, you better tell them I'm not coming back. But God has other plans, not just for me, for you. You're excited about my call. What's your call? God is no respecter of persons. Don't let the podium fool you. Because I got a microphone. You have a call. I am because you are. So come on, women's ensemble. Sharon is so amazing. I asked her, I done changed the entire program 3 times. But I told her, Sharon, I said, I love when you do this song. Because this song was dedicated to Ella Baker, who just like Reverend E, was not ready to rest. She believed in freedom, and she made sure that she kept going and that we kept going. Welcome to Freedom Summer. This is Sweet Honey in the Rock for those of you who don't know.
We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. That which touches me most is that I had a chance to work with people, passing on to others that which was passed on to me. Come on, y'all. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest.
To me, young people come first. They have the courage where we fail. And if I can just shed some light as they carry us through the gale.
We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes.
The older I get, the better I know that the secret of my going on is when the reins are in the hand of the young who dare to run against the storm. We
who believe in freedom cannot rest.
Come on, church.
We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes.
We who believe.
We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes.
I am a woman who speaks God's voice, and I will be heard. At times I can seem quite difficult, because I won't bow down to any man's sword. Because
We who believe in freedom cannot rest.
Come on, church.
We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes.
What?
We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it
We
comes.
who believe in freedom.
We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it
We
comes.
who believe.
We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it
We
comes.
who believe.
We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes.
I want you to put your hands together again for the East Bay Church Women's Ensemble. We have Joanne Johnson, Zoe Bloom, Z. Lewis, Martha Mangle, our new friend Benny Wilson on piano, Joey Trousseau on drums, Lee Henderson on bass, and give it up for Sharon D. Henderson, musical director. Y'all know I love the music, right? So I came to rehearsal yesterday and I was like, Sharon? They even gave me a part. I was so excited. Now, y'all know that's Sweet Honey's words. I just made a little adaptation. So we're talking about today, I am because we are. And if I'm going to talk about who I am, I have to acknowledge that my family is here. Will y'all raise your hands right here? So we have my brother Will and my sister-in-law Allie, my daughter Nia, and that's my mama, y'all, who just moved to the Bay, Lindell Johnson. She just moved to the Bay, and we getting the band back together. So I'm here, she's here, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And so I have to appreciate my mother who gave birth to me, but also right here on this front row is Reverend Eloise Oliver, who gave birth to my ministry. So there's been some conversation about what kind of leader I'm going to be, evidently, before I even started. And so I've been getting some feedback around that, some expectations, some concerns, some questions, and all the like. So I thought, you know, I'd like to come and just set the record straight right now. Yeah, I mean, you know, y'all know what it is. I already told you how we're going to do it. What you see. Okay, there we go. All right. So a long time ago, Bathsheba introduced me one Sunday when I was preaching, and she said, here comes your powerhouse speaker. I love Bathsheba. She sees the good in absolutely everybody, and she lifts it up. She lifts it up. Ever since I met her, we was working with the babies, and she loved on them. And she loved on the adults, and she loved on me, even when I was special. But she introduced me, and she said, this is our powerhouse speaker. And when I got up to the podium, it was a hard time at East Bay. And I said, East Bay, you don't need a powerhouse speaker. You need to be a house of power. Amen. And I want to tell you, as much as I fought to leave and not come back and all of that, when I looked around at what has been happening at East Bay in the 8 years since I've been gone, I've been astounded. I've been blown away. I'm talking about folks who understand how to make a way out of no way. I'm talking about the steadfast folks. Raise your hand if you never left. Raise your hand. Look around. We got to be glad for folks are back. This is a wonderful thing. We welcome you, and we got to acknowledge that some of us left. And some folks stayed the course and kept it going. They kept it going. So when I looked at, you know, the board profile and the website and the online this and the health and wellness ministry, and I got the call for sacred activism and youth and family is being relaunched, and I was just like, whoo, we got an Instagram, we got all kinds of stuff. The newsletter. If you're not reading Love in Action, listen. There's some beautiful things going on at this church. So I am the prayer that you pray. Right? You sat here every week for a lot of weeks. And you said a covenant. Let me tell you what you said. You said that you want a minister who believes true love has the power to heal and transform any situation and bring deep meaning to our lives. You said you wanted someone who was igniting individual and collective. Look, Precious know the words. She over here like, I'm about to recite it. You wanted an individual who was igniting individual and collective energetic movement towards spiritual truth and freedom. So the question I have for you is, are you sure? Are you sure? Because I done got a couple phone calls, and I had to ask, now what's the spiritual truth behind that? Amen. I mean, I'm just saying, if we're going to do this, if you prayed for this, then I hope you're willing to receive this, because if you call me, amen, we're going to pray. Amen. If you call me and you tell me that we're at war with the enemy, I'm a practitioner. My job is to be the presence of peace, ain't it, Reverend Dereca? Reverend Dereca told me a bunch of times, listen here, your job Okay, I got it. Your job. Right, so when I'm talking about what's going on beneath the surface, when I'm talking about whether there's some tension between new folks and new ideas and old folks who've been steadfast with the old ideas, we got to have a willingness to heal and transform any situation. We have to have a willingness for collective energetic movement, because I'm going to tell y'all what, we got new people coming every Sunday. And it's beautiful. I'm so excited to see some of my folks here. Amen. And we have to know what we teach. Amen. We have to practice what we preach. I'm not interested in preaching on Sunday and having something else the rest of the week. Amen. That's not what we're doing here. I don't have to preach, but I do have to pray. Because that's what this is really about. So I like to practice something. People keep asking me, well, you know, they say, well, Reverend E, you know, Reverend Dereca, I know you might see, I'm still getting used to it. I'm still calling her. Reverend Dereca, you know, I know you might want to have your own people doing this, and you might, I was like, what own people? Y'all thought I was coming in with a crew, and, you know, I'm going to fire everybody and put new people in place? What own people? Y'all are my own people. I am, because we are. And I'm excited for all the new energy. Yes, yes. I am. Are y'all excited? Yes. So welcome to folks who are filling it out, trying to see if this might be your place. If you online, like, this might be interesting. Welcome. Right? But I just wanted to get clear that I intend to practice servant leadership. Now, what is that? A servant leader focuses primarily on the growth and well-being of people and the communities to which they belong. While traditional leadership generally involves the accumulation and exercise of power by one at the top of the pyramid, servant leadership is different. The servant leader shares power and puts the needs of others first and helps develop people and perform as highly as possible. Okay, so let me make sure I interpret that. I am here to serve you. I am here to serve you. The board is here to serve you. The ministries are here to serve you. The music ministry, the youth and we're here to serve. That's what the work is. That's what the goal is. And anybody who doesn't have that clear, come on, see me. Let's pray. That's what the work is to be of service, to put the needs of others first. And then, I'm going to be clear, to push. Because you see that part about help people develop and perform as highly as possible? That doesn't mean we just do whatever we do. I know some people think that that's what love is. I just let you do whatever you want to do. I believe in tough love. The love that says, I want the best for you, and because I want the best for you, I'm willing sometimes to say no. It's going to happen. Everybody take a deep breath. But if what you wanted was the thing that you prayed for in that covenant, if what you wanted was someone who was going to put the church first, who was going to listen before taking control, if you wanted someone who was going to be devoted to serving the youth and family, I want to tell you, youth and family is what this church was founded on. Right in the beginning, Reverend E rented a space to make sure that we had a youth and family ministry. I came in that way. You better believe we're going to go that way. I don't want a youth and family ministry. I want a Saturday school. I don't want just to have a health and wellness ministry. I want to serve all of Oakland. I have a vision because you gave me a vision. Because you whispering to me talking about we need to bring back the choir. Well, bring it back. What you waiting on me for? I done talked to Vanessa. I said, Vanessa, can we have a choir? She said, sure. So I am, because there's nothing I'm going to do that is not what we're going to do. So if you have a vision for what church could be, because I want to revolutionize what church is. Y'all hear that online? Let's make it something different. You have a vision for what church can be. Let's get together on that. Let's serve this community, but I don't want to forget about ourselves. Because they say hurt people, but healed people, heal people. So some of us do need to rest. You talk to me. Some of us do need to rest, because when we say we who believe in freedom cannot rest, we're not saying you can't take care of yourself. See, that's how we misinterpret that. We who believe in freedom got to go until we fall down. That's not what it means. It means we cannot rest on the laurels and the old ideas, as Holmes calls it, the race consciousness of an enemy. It means we have to keep the way forward in our principles, in our thinking, right? So if what you wanted was somebody who was operating on principle, who was interested in service, if you wanted those things that you prayed for in the covenant, I'm going to tell you what Ray Charles said. You got the right one, baby. Got the right one. My grandma loved her some Ray Charles, didn't she, Mama? I had to throw that in there for y'all one time. All right. Before I go, because I'm interested in us having a sermon that's strong and we can get out here on time, we're going to work on that. I mean, I'm just saying. So I want to talk, before I finish, about prosperity. We've had some conversations about what it takes to run a church. And I love these ideas that are coming. We need more members. We need more donations. We got a beautiful Give, Grow, Glow campaign. We got a lot of good things happening. But I want to clarify the principles of prosperity, right? Because there was some conversation that felt a little bit like lack and limitation.
Amen. Yes. Amen.
There was a little conversation that was generally coming from a place of good stewardship. We have to be good stewards of what we have, and we have to be good stewards of each other. We have to be good stewards of a consciousness that says, I see God is my source and supply. My mama used to work for a jewelry store called Barron's. And they would act out, and what you used to say, Mama say, good thing I don't work for Barron's, because I work for God. So let me just tell you right now, you ain't got to worry about Reverend Dereca's paycheck, because Reverend Dereca don't work for East Bay. She works for God. I left a whole bunch of jobs along the way, and every single time I followed God, it got better and better and better. So I need you to know that about East Bay Church. I need you to know that whatever we need is already coming to us, because we have a mindset, a consciousness that is a belief in prosperity. I need there to be somebody in here that has a prosperity testimony. I need somebody to say that I gave and it came back to me pressed down, running over. I need somebody to say that I was afraid and then I practiced these tools, these philosophies. I turned my face to God, and then a blessing greater than I could have imagined, pressed down and run. Anybody got a testimony? Because that's what I'm looking for, is people who have experienced transformation. And if you haven't gotten to that yet, I want you to get some. Reverend E said we was given, when she taught foundations, there was a money-back guarantee. I'm gonna bring it back. When I teach Beyond Limits, it's gonna be a money-back guarantee, because this stuff really works. But you got to work it. So when we start talking about prosperity in this community, when we start talking about this campaign and why we want you to give, I want us to be clear that what we're talking about is give, grow, glow, flow. Ooh. Because there's a flow that is already happening in the universe, and it's like double dutch. The problem is you trying to turn the rope. That's God. All you have to do is get in where you fit in. All you have to do is see the opportunity is there for you, and look at your time and say, where do I need to jump in, God? Where do I need to listen? I got something I think I need to do. What is my calling? What is it that's mine to do? And then if I jump in to the flow of prosperity, then good things are going to happen. There's a flow that's already happening at East Bay Church. That's why we're feeding the homeless. That's why we have a food pantry. That's why we have practitioners. That's why we have a health and wellness ministry. I want want you to give because you receive. I want you to give so you can let go of the blockage. I don't care if you give to East Bay, just give somewhere. Give your time, give your talent, give your tithe somewhere, because it constricts you when you're afraid to give.
Amen.
You might be afraid to give your love to somebody. Woo. You might be afraid to give your talents at your job. They don't appreciate me. You might be afraid to forgive somebody in your family who needs love. But when you get ready, God is waiting. The universal spirit is waiting for you to step into the flow. So I wanted the women's ensemble to come and give it to you. This is why we give.